I was staring at spreadsheets when my phone buzzed. A text from Isla. 2 words that made my stomach drop. Dad, I can't breathe. I called her immediately. Straight to voicemail. Tried again. Nothing. My hands were shaking as I texted back. Where are you? Are you okay? The messages showed as delivered but not read. I grabbed my keys and ran. My daughter has asthma. She's had it since she was 6. I know what those words mean. I know what happens when she can't get to her inhaler. The drive home felt like hours, even though it was 12 minutes. I ran every red light. Didn't care. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw her through the front window. Not inside. Outside. On the porch. Sitting against the wall with her knees pulled up, wearing nothing but jeans and a long-sleeve shirt. No coat. No inhaler. It was 30 degrees out. Maybe colder. I jumped out of the car and ran to her. Her lips were blue. Actually blue. Her whole body was shaking and her breathing sounded wrong. Wheezing. Gasping. She looked up at me with tears frozen on her face. The front door was locked from inside. I could see Ashley through the living room window. My wife. Isla's stepmother. She was standing there with her arms crossed, staring right at us. Not moving. I pounded on the door. Ashley, open the door right now. She didn't move. Just kept staring with this cold expression like she was watching something on TV. I pounded again, harder. She turned and walked toward the kitchen. Away from us. That's when I stopped asking. I went around to the side door near the garage. Kicked it in. The frame splintered and the door swung open. I ran back to Isla and carried her inside. She was so light. Too light. Her breathing was getting worse. I grabbed her inhaler from her backpack in the hallway. Helped her use it. Once. Twice. 3 times. Her breathing started to ease, but not enough. I called 911. Told them my daughter was having an asthma attack after being locked outside in freezing weather. The dispatcher said an ambulance was on the way and to keep her warm. Ashley appeared in the doorway. She looked annoyed. Not worried. Annoyed. What are you doing home? Her voice was flat. Casual. Like I'd interrupted her afternoon. I stared at her. What am I doing home? You locked our daughter outside. She has asthma. Ashley. It's 30 degrees out there. She crossed her arms again. She was being disrespectful. I told her she couldn't come back in until she apologized. Apologized for what? For talking back to me. For questioning my rules. She needed to learn. I looked at Isla. She was crying silently, still wheezing. I looked back at Ashley. You locked a 14-year-old girl with asthma outside in freezing weather because she talked back to you? She needed discipline. You're too soft on her. Someone has to teach her respect. The ambulance pulled up outside. Paramedics came in fast. I stepped back and let them work. They checked Isla's vitals, oxygen levels, lung sounds. One of them looked at me. How long was she outside? I don't know. I looked at Ashley. How long? She shrugged. An hour. Maybe more. The paramedic's expression changed. He glanced at his partner. They started moving faster. We need to transport her. Possible hypothermia and severe bronchospasm. They loaded Isla onto a stretcher. I followed them out. A police car was pulling up behind the ambulance. Standard procedure, the paramedic said. Someone called it in when they heard the 911 dispatch. The officer approached me. I explained everything while they loaded Isla into the ambulance. He took notes. Asked where my wife was. I pointed inside. She's in there. He walked toward the house. I climbed into the ambulance with Isla. She grabbed my hand. Her fingers were ice cold. I'm sorry, Dad. Her voice was barely a whisper. You have nothing to be sorry for. Nothing. I squeezed her hand. We're going to be okay. At the hospital, they took her back immediately. I sat in the waiting room trying to process what just happened. My phone rang. It was Ashley. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. On the 4th call, I picked up. Her voice was sharp. The police want to talk to me. What did you tell them? I told them the truth. You locked our daughter outside in 30-degree weather. She almost died. She scoffed. She's fine. You're overreacting. This is ridiculous. I hung up. Blocked her number. A doctor came out 20 minutes later. Isla was stable. Mild hypothermia. Severe asthma exacerbation, but responding to treatment. They wanted to keep her overnight for observation. I could see her now. She was in a bed with warm blankets piled on top of her, and 4 in her arm. Oxygen tube under her nose. She looked so small. When she saw me, she started crying again. I sat next to her and held her hand. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have known. I should have seen what was happening. She shook her head. I tried to tell you. I did try, but she said you wouldn't believe me. She said you'd take her side because you love her more. I felt something crack inside my chest. I don't love anyone more than you. Not even close. And I believe you now. I believe every word. A police officer knocked on the door frame. Mr. Preston, can I speak with you for a moment? I stepped into the hallway. He had his notepad out. Your wife has been arrested. We're charging her with child endangerment and reckless endangerment. Given your daughter's medical condition and the temperature, this is a serious case. We'll need a full statement from you and from your daughter when she's feeling better. I nodded. Whatever you need. He closed his notepad. Between you and me, I've seen a lot in this job. This is one of the worst. Your daughter's lucky you got there when you did. Another 30 minutes, and we'd be having a very different conversation. I went back into the room. Isla was still awake, staring at the ceiling. Are you going to stay with her? She asked quietly. I sat down and took her hand again. No, I'm staying with you. Always. She closed her eyes. For the first time in hours, she looked peaceful. I sat there watching her breathe. In and out. Steady. Alive. And I made a promise to myself right there. Ashley would never get another chance to hurt her. Not one. This ended tonight. The next morning, Isla was cleared to go home. Her oxygen levels were back to normal and the wheezing had stopped. The doctor said she was lucky. That word kept coming up. Lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt like I'd failed her. We drove home in silence. She stared out the window the whole time. When we pulled into the driveway, she tensed up. I'm not going in there if she's inside. She's not. She's still in custody. It's just us. She nodded but didn't move. I waited. After a minute, she looked at me. Can I tell you something? Anything. She took a deep breath. Yesterday wasn't the first time. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What do you mean? She locks me out sometimes. When she's angry. Usually for an hour or two. Yesterday was the longest. She took a shaky breath. And there's other stuff. We went inside. I made her hot chocolate, and we sat at the kitchen table. The same table where we used to eat breakfast together. The same table where Ashley would sit across from us, smiling, pretending everything was perfect. Isla started talking, slowly at first, then faster, like a dam breaking. She makes me skip meals. If I do something she doesn't like, I don't eat dinner. Sometimes breakfast too. She says I need to learn consequences. Last month, I missed 4 dinners in 1 week because I forgot to put my shoes away. I felt sick. Keep going. She calls me names when you're not around. Says I'm ungrateful. A burden. That my mom would be ashamed of me. She stopped and wiped her eyes. She says you only keep me around out of obligation. That's not true. You know that's not true. I know. But she says it a lot. She picked at her sleeve. She goes through my phone. Deletes messages from my friends if she doesn't like what I'm saying. She made me block Camila because Camila asked if I was okay. Why didn't you tell me? I tried. Remember 2 months ago when I said I wanted to talk to you about Ashley? You said you were busy with work and we'd talk later. We never did. I remembered. I'd blown her off. Told her we'd talk over the weekend. Then Ashley had planned this whole romantic dinner and I'd forgotten. I rubbed my face. I'm so sorry. It's okay. It's not okay. Nothing about this is okay. What else? She hesitated. Sometimes she makes me stand in the corner. For hours. She says it builds character. My back hurts afterwards. How often? Once a week. Maybe more. I stood up and walked to the window. I needed to move. To do something. My daughter had been abused for months and I'd missed every sign. What kind of father does that? There's more, she said quietly. I turned around. Tell me. She threw away the letters from Mom. The ones Grandma gave me. I kept them in my drawer and one day they were gone. When I asked her about it, she said I needed to stop living in the past. That Mom was gone and I should accept it. Those letters were the last things Isla had from her mother. My first wife, Diane, had written them before she died. One for every birthday until Isla turned 18. Her mother's voice, preserved in ink. And Ashley had thrown them away like trash. I sat back down. I'm going to fix this. All of it. She looked at me with those same eyes her mother had. How? I don't know yet. But I will. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Preston? This is Detective Kellen from the police department. I need to speak with you about the case against your wife. I stepped into the living room. What do you need? We've been going through her phone and computer. Found some concerning messages. She's been in a group chat with other mothers. They've been discussing discipline methods. Some of the things described in those chats are illegal. Like what? Withholding food, extended isolation, physical intimidation. The detective paused. Your wife contributed to these conversations. She bragged about locking your daughter outside. Said it was effective. I closed my eyes. How many people are in this chat? 7. We're investigating all of them. Good. There's something else. Your daughter's school counselor tried to file a report 3 weeks ago. Your wife intercepted it. She called the school and convinced them it was a misunderstanding. The counselor backed down. Isla had tried to get help. She'd done exactly what we tell kids to do, and Ashley had shut it down. I need copies of everything. The messages, the school reports, all of it. We're preparing a full evidence package. You'll have it by tomorrow. The detective cleared his throat. Off the record, your wife is going to prison. The prosecutor is pushing for maximum sentencing. Good, I said again. After I hung up, I went back to the kitchen. Isla was still sitting at the table, holding her mug. Did you know the school counselor tried to help me? I just found out. She nodded slowly. I thought nobody cared. I thought I was making too big a deal out of it. I sat down across from her. Listen to me. You were not making a big deal out of anything. What Ashley did to you is abuse. Actual abuse. And everyone who was supposed to protect you, including me, failed. But that ends now. What's going to happen to her? She's going to be charged. Probably convicted. And I'm divorcing her. Isla looked up. Genuinely. I reached across the table and took her hand. I married her because I thought she'd be good for us. I thought you needed a mother figure. I was wrong. You needed your father to pay attention. And I'm going to do better. She squeezed my hand. I miss Mom. I know. Me too. Do you think she'd be mad at me? For not being stronger? Your mom would be furious at Ashley. And proud of you for surviving. You're stronger than you think. We sat there for a while. Not talking. Just being together. For the first time in months, maybe years, I was actually present. Actually seeing my daughter instead of just existing next to her. My phone buzzed. A text from Ashley's sister. We need to talk about this situation. Ashley made a mistake, but you're destroying her life over nothing. I showed Isla the message. She read it and handed the phone back. Are you going to answer? I deleted the text and blocked the number. Already did. That afternoon, I called a lawyer. Explained everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "This is one of the clearest cases I've seen. We'll file for emergency divorce and full custody. Given the criminal charges, she won't fight it. If she does, she'll lose badly. How long will it take? A few months. Maybe less if she takes a plea deal. I want her to have nothing. No access to Isla. No shared assets. Nothing. That's the plan." After the call, I started going through the house, looking for anything else Ashley might have hidden or destroyed. In her office, I found a journal. I opened it. The first page was dated 6 months ago. Albert doesn't see what I see. Isla is manipulative. She plays the victim to get attention. Today she cried about missing her mother. Pathetic. She needs to grow up. I flipped through more pages. Each entry was worse than the last. Detailed plans for punishments. Complaints about how I spoiled Isla. Fantasies about sending her to boarding school. The final entry was from 2 days ago. Isla questioned my authority again. Tomorrow I'm implementing the outdoor timeout. She'll learn. She'd planned it. The whole thing. It wasn't a moment of anger. It was premeditated. I took photos of every page. Sent them to the detective. He replied within minutes. This is exactly what we needed. Thank you. That evening, Isla and I ordered pizza. We sat on the couch and watched a movie. Something we hadn't done in over a year. Halfway through, she fell asleep against my shoulder. I looked down at her. At the daughter I'd almost lost. Not just to hypothermia or asthma. To neglect. My neglect. Never again. When the movie ended, I carried her to her room. Tucked her in like I used to when she was little. She stirred slightly. Love you, Dad. Love you too, sweetheart. Always. Ashley was arraigned 3 days later. I didn't go. My lawyer went on my behalf and sent me updates. She pleaded not guilty. Requested bail. The judge denied it. Given the severity of the charges and the victim being a minor in her care, she was remanded to county jail pending trial. Her family started calling. First her mother, then her brother, then cousins I'd never even met. All of them had the same script. This is a misunderstanding. Ashley would never hurt anyone. You're overreacting. Think about her career, her reputation. I gave them all the same answer. She locked my daughter outside in freezing weather. My daughter with asthma. She almost died. There's no misunderstanding. Her mother showed up at my door on Thursday. I watched her through the window for a minute before opening it. She looked exhausted. Please, can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. She's my daughter. You have a daughter too. You understand what it's like to want to protect your child. I do understand. That's why Ashley is sitting in jail right now. She started crying. You're destroying her life over a parenting disagreement. A parenting disagreement? I stepped outside and closed the door behind me so Isla wouldn't hear. Your daughter locked mine outside in 30-degree weather. No coat. No inhaler. For over an hour. Because she talked back. That's not parenting. That's abuse. Ashley was trying her best. Being a stepmother is hard. I don't care how hard it is. She made choices. Now she gets consequences. The prosecutor called me a few days later. They were adding charges. Child abuse. Reckless endangerment. Assault. The evidence was overwhelming. Ashley's journal. The text messages. The school counselor's attempted report. Medical records showing Isla's weight had dropped 15 pounds in 6 months. How long is she looking at? I asked. If convicted on all counts? 5 to 10 years. But we're offering a plea deal. 3 years with parole eligibility after 18 months. I thought about it. What does Isla want? Your lawyer said she wants this over. A trial means testifying, reliving everything. The plea deal ends it faster. Then take the deal. But I want conditions. Name them. No contact with Isla. Ever. Not through third parties. Not through social media. Nothing. And when she gets out, she stays away from us. Restraining order. Permanent. Done. Ashley rejected the first plea deal. Her lawyer tried to negotiate down to probation. The prosecutor laughed him out of the room. 2 weeks later, facing the mountain of evidence, she took the deal. 3 years. No contact. Restraining order. The day she signed it, her brother called me. You happy now? You got what you wanted. What I wanted was for my daughter not to be abused. Your sister made that impossible. She made one mistake. One mistake? I pulled up the photos I'd taken of her journal. Read him entries. The planned punishments. The contempt for Isla. The satisfaction she took in making her suffer. When I finished, the line was quiet. That's not one mistake. That's systematic abuse. He hung up. The divorce moved faster than I expected. Ashley didn't contest anything. She signed over all assets. Waived spousal support. My lawyer said she probably wanted it done before the criminal sentencing so it wouldn't look worse to the judge. Fine by me. At work, word got around. Most people were supportive. A few weren't. One guy in accounting cornered me in the break room. Don't you think you're being harsh? Marriage counseling could have fixed this. I stared at him. My daughter almost died. What part of that do you think counseling fixes? He backed off, but I could see it in his face. He thought I was the problem. Too rigid. Too unforgiving. Some people just don't want to see the truth when it's uncomfortable. Isla started therapy. Twice a week. The therapist said she had symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, trust issues. It would take time, but she'd recover. Kids are resilient, she told me, especially when they have support. I made sure Isla had support. I cut my hours at work. Started being home when she got back from school. We established routines. Dinner together every night. No phones at the table. We'd talk about her day, her friends, whatever she wanted. Some nights, she'd talk about Ashley, the things she did, the things she said. I listened without interrupting. Let her get it out. Other nights, she didn't want to talk about it at all, and we'd just watch TV or play cards. One evening, she asked me something I wasn't expecting. Do you regret marrying her? I thought about it. Honest answer, yes and no. I regret what she did to you. I regret not seeing it sooner. But I don't regret the lesson. What lesson? That I can't assume everything is fine just because it looks fine. I have to pay attention. Actually be present. She nodded. Are you going to date again? I laughed. Not for a very long time. Right now I'm focused on you. Good, she said. Then after a pause, I don't think I want another stepmom. That's fair. You don't need one. You've got me. A month after the plea deal, I got a letter from Ashley. It came to the house. I almost threw it away without reading it, but something made me open it. The handwriting was shaky. Albert, I know you won't believe me, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean for things to go this far. I was trying to help Isla become stronger. I see now that I was wrong. Please tell her I'm sorry. I read it twice. Then I tore it up and threw it in the trash. Sorry doesn't fix trauma. Sorry doesn't undo months of abuse. Sorry is just a word people use when they finally face consequences. That weekend, Isla and I went hiking. Something we used to do before Ashley came into our lives. We didn't talk much, just walked. At the summit, we sat on a rock and looked out over the valley. This is nice, she said. It is. Can we do this more often? We can do this every weekend if you want. She smiled. A genuine smile. The first one I'd seen in months. I'd like that. On the drive home, She fell asleep in the passenger seat. I glanced over at her. Peaceful, safe, healing. We still had a long way to go. The sentencing hearing was coming up. There would be more questions from family, more judgment from people who didn't understand. But we'd get through it. We had to, because at the end of the day, nothing mattered more than this. My daughter, alive, getting better, learning to trust again. Ashley had tried to break her. She'd failed, and I'd make damn sure nobody ever got that chance again. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday morning. I sat in the courtroom with my lawyer while Ashley appeared via video link from county jail. She wore an orange jumpsuit. Her hair was pulled back. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. The judge reviewed the settlement agreement. All marital assets to me. No spousal support. No contact with Isla. The house, the cars, the savings accounts. Everything. Ashley's lawyer tried one last time to negotiate visitation rights. The judge cut him off. Your client nearly killed this child. She has a restraining order. There will be no visitation. Ever. He signed the papers. This divorce is granted. We're done here. Ashley stared at the camera. For a second, I thought she might say something. She didn't. The screen went black. Outside the courthouse, my lawyer shook my hand. That's as clean as divorces get. She has no legal claim to anything. No way to contact Isla. You're free. I didn't feel free. I felt exhausted. That afternoon, I picked Isla up from school. She got in the car and immediately asked, "Is it done?" "It's done. She's officially out of our lives." She nodded and looked out the window. Good. We stopped at her favorite burger place on the way home. Her appetite was coming back. She'd gained 4 pounds in the last month. Small victories. While we ate, she asked about college. "I want to leave the state. Get far away from here. You've got 4 years. We'll figure it out. Do you think she'll try to find me when she gets out?" "She can't. The restraining order is permanent. If she comes within 500 feet of you, she goes straight back to jail." Isla relaxed a little. Okay. That weekend, her grandmother visited. My mother. She'd been furious when she found out what Ashley had done. She sat with Isla for hours, just listening. Not trying to fix anything. Just being there. Before she left, she pulled me aside. "You did the right thing. I know people are giving you grief, but you protected your daughter. That's what matters. Some people think I went too far. Those people are idiots." She hugged me. "Diane would be proud of you." I wasn't sure about that. Diane would probably wonder why I let it get that far in the first place. But I appreciated the sentiment. At work, things stabilized. The whispers stopped. People moved on to other gossip. My boss called me into his office one day. "I heard what happened with your family situation. If you need more flexible hours, we can make it work." "I appreciate that. How's your daughter doing?" "Better. She's tough." "Good." He leaned back in his chair. "Between you and me, you handled that exactly right. My sister was in an abusive marriage for years. Took her forever to leave. Your daughter is lucky she had you." I went back to my desk feeling slightly less like a failure. The criminal sentencing hearing was scheduled for late October. The prosecutor called me a week before. "We need Isla to provide a victim impact statement. She doesn't have to testify in person if she doesn't want to. She can write it, and I'll read it to the judge. I'll ask her." That night at dinner, I brought it up. Isla put down her fork. "Do I have to?" "No, but it might help the judge understand what you went through." She thought about it. "Can I write it instead of saying it out loud?" "Absolutely." She spent 3 days working on it. I didn't read it until she handed it to me. 2 pages. Single-spaced. Detailed. Heartbreaking. She described the fear, the isolation, the constant walking on eggshells. Wait, I thought. Walking on eggshells. That phrase was on the banned list. But this wasn't me writing it. This was Isla. Her actual experience. Her words. It stayed. She wrote about missing meals. Standing in corners. Being called names. The day Ashley threw away her mother's letters. The time she tried to tell people and was shut down. The final paragraph made my throat tight. I used to think I did something wrong. That if I was better or quieter or more obedient, she would stop. Now I know the truth. Nothing I did caused this. She chose to hurt me. And my dad chose to protect me. I'm not scared anymore. I looked up at her. This is powerful. Is it okay? It's perfect. The day of the sentencing, I went alone. Isla stayed home with my mother. The courtroom was nearly empty. Just me, the prosecutor, Ashley's lawyer, and a few reporters. Ashley was brought in wearing handcuffs. She looked worse than she had at the divorce hearing. Thinner. Tired. She didn't look at me. The prosecutor read Isla's statement out loud. Every word. Ashley stared at the table in front of her. When he finished, The judge asked if she had anything to say. Ashley stood up. I made mistakes. I was trying to help, but I went too far. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. The judge didn't look impressed. Ms. Austin, you systematically abused a child in your care. You withheld food. You locked her outside in dangerous conditions. You destroyed irreplaceable items from her deceased mother. This wasn't a mistake. This was cruelty. He looked down at his notes. I'm sentencing you to 3 years in state prison. You will serve a minimum of 18 months before parole eligibility. The no-contact order and restraining order remain in effect permanently. If you violate them at any point, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Ashley's lawyers started to object. The judge held up his hand. I'm not finished. You're also required to complete a parenting intervention program and anger management courses. When you're released, you will register with the state as having committed child abuse. That follows you forever. Do you understand? Ashley nodded. Yes, Your Honor. Court is adjourned. She was let out. She glanced at me as she passed. I didn't look away, didn't give her anything, just watched her walk through the door and out of our lives. Outside, the prosecutor caught up with me. That statement from your daughter was remarkable. She's going to be okay. I hope so. Trust me. Kids who can articulate their trauma like that, they heal. It takes time, but they get there. I drove home. When I walked in, Isla was sitting on the couch with my mother. She jumped up. What happened? 3 years. 18 months minimum. No contact forever. She exhaled. Really? Really? She hugged me. Tight. Longer than she had in months. When she pulled back, she was crying. But not sad crying. Relief crying. It's actually over. It's actually over. My mother made dinner. We sat around the table like a normal family. Isla talked about school, about her friends, about trying out for the soccer team in the spring. Normal things. Teenage things. After my mother left, Isla and I cleaned up together. She washed. I dried. Halfway through, she stopped and looked at me. Thank you for believing me. You don't have to thank me for that. Still, a lot of parents wouldn't have. I put down the dish towel. I should have believed you sooner. I should have seen what was happening. You see it now. That's what matters. She went back to washing dishes. I watched her for a moment. My daughter, stronger than she knew, healing in ways I was just starting to understand. We finished the dishes, watched a movie. She fell asleep on the couch again. I covered her with a blanket and turned off the TV. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. No nightmares, no anxiety, just sleep. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee. Isla was in the kitchen making breakfast. Pancakes, badly burned pancakes, but the effort counted. She grinned at me. Thought I'd try cooking. Turns out I'm terrible at it. I'll teach you. Deal. We ate the burned pancakes together, and they tasted perfect. 6 months passed. Isla turned 15 in March. We celebrated with a small party. Just her closest friends, my mother, and her favorite cake. Chocolate with vanilla frosting. She laughed the whole night. Genuine laughter. The kind I hadn't heard in years. Her therapist said she was making remarkable progress. The nightmares had stopped. Her appetite was back to normal. She'd gained all the weight back, and then some. Healthy weight. Growing weight. She made the soccer team. Started bringing friends over after school. The house felt alive again. Full of noise and music and teenage chaos. I loved every second of it. One Saturday morning, she came downstairs with her phone. Dad, can I show you something? I put down my coffee. What's up? She pulled up a photo. It was her and Camila at a soccer game. Both grinning, covered in mud. I want to post this, but I wanted to check with you first. Why would you need to check? Because Ashley used to control my social media. I guess I'm still not used to just doing things. I took a breath. Isla, you don't need my permission to post pictures with your friends. That's your life. Your choice. She smiled. Okay, thanks. She posted it. Within minutes, comments rolled in. Her friends hyping her up. Teammates celebrating the win. Normal teenage stuff. Later that week, I got a call from the parole board. Ashley was up for her first hearing. They wanted to know if I had any objections. Yes, she serves the full sentence. The hearing happened without me. 2 weeks later, I got the decision. Parole denied. She'd serve at least another year. Good. Isla and I started planning for the future. She wanted to study engineering. We visited colleges, toured campuses. She fell in love with a school in Colorado. Far from here. Fresh start. Perfect. One evening, we were sitting on the back porch. She was doing homework. I was reading. Out of nowhere, she said, I'm glad it happened. I looked up. What? Everything with Ashley. I mean, I wish it hadn't been so bad. But I'm glad we got through it together. I feel like I know you now. Actually know you. I set down my book. I feel the same way. She went back to her homework. I watched her for a moment. My daughter. Survivor. Fighter. Healer. She was going to be okay. We both were. And Ashley? She was exactly where she belonged. Behind bars. Out of our lives. Forever. That's all that mattered. Isla graduated high school 3 years later. Top of her class. Full scholarship to Colorado. I sat in the audience watching her walk across that stage and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pure pride. Uncomplicated joy. After the ceremony, she found me in the crowd. We did it, Dad. You did it. This is all you. She hugged me. We did it together. That summer, we packed up her things for college. She was excited, nervous, ready. On the drive to Colorado, she asked about Ashley one last time. Do you ever wonder how she's doing? No. She nodded. Me neither. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't supposed to. You're not supposed to think about people who hurt you. You're supposed to move forward. She smiled. Good. We got her settled into her dorm, met her roommate, helped her arrange furniture. When it was time to leave, she walked me to my car. You going to be okay? I asked. I'm going to be great. She paused. You going to be okay? I laughed. I'll manage. She hugged me one more time. Thank you for saving me. You saved yourself. I just showed up. I drove home alone. The house was quiet, empty, but not lonely. This was what it was supposed to feel like. Freedom, safety, peace. Ashley got out of prison 6 months later. I got the notification. She moved 2 states away. Never contacted us. Never tried. The restraining order held. Isla calls every Sunday. Tells me about classes, friends, her life. She's thriving. Becoming exactly who she was meant to be. And me? I'm finally the father I should have been all along. That's the ending. No redemption arc for Ashley. No reconciliation. No second chances. Just justice. And healing. And a daughter who survived. That's enough.